When pets turn predators, unveiling the shocking truth. He's attacking my friend. My friend is my chimpanzee. Not all pets are as loving or loyal as they seem. These jaw-dropping stories reveal the chilling truth. From wild, exotic animals to seemingly harmless household pets, these incidents shocked everyone to their core. What could possibly drive these creatures to commit such terrifying acts of violence? And more importantly, could it happen to you? Brace yourself as we delve into the dark side of animal companionship. These are the harrowing accounts of pets that turn on their owners in the most gruesome and unimaginable ways, leaving families and entire communities in disbelief. What triggered these shocking betrayals? And how can you protect yourself from such horror? Join us as we uncover the untold truth behind these unbelievable events, where beloved animals became predators, and their owners became prey. The tragic tale of Charla, Nash, and the perils of exotic pet ownership. First on our list is Charla Nash, whose life was irrevocably changed on February 16, 2009, when she fell victim to a horrifying attack by Travis, a 200-pound pet chimpanzee owned by her close friend Sandra in Stamford, Connecticut. Charla was a kind and hard-working woman, often helping Sandra with daily tasks. Sandra, on the other hand, treated Travis more like a human companion than an animal, raising him from infancy. Travis was a local celebrity, having appeared in commercials and lived a lifestyle far removed from that of a typical chimpanzee, complete with meals of steak and lobster. The tragedy began when Sandra called Charla for help because Travis had become agitated. Hoping to calm him, Charla arrived, unaware of the danger that awaited. Without warning, Travis, perhaps feeling threatened, launched a savage attack, ripping apart her face and hands in a gruesome assault. In a desperate bid to save her friend, Sandra stabbed Travis and frantically called 911. The scene that greeted first responders was nothing short of horrifying. Travis, still in a frenzy, charged at police officers, forcing them to shoot and kill him. Charla's injuries were beyond devastating. She lost her eyes, nose, lips, and hands in the attack. Her long road to recovery included a groundbreaking face transplant in 2011. Charla's experience became a rallying cry for change. She emerged as a vocal advocate for stricter regulations on exotic pet ownership, warning of the inherent unpredictability of animals like Travis. The incident ignited legal battles and ethical debates, with Sandra facing lawsuits for her role in keeping a wild animal as a pet. This tragedy is a sobering reminder of the risks of domesticating creatures whose primal instincts cannot be tamed. While a single pet chimpanzee's attack is shocking, one must wonder, what of those who choose to live among entire packs of wolves? The fatal bond, Sandra Piaseki's tragic encounter with hybrid wolves. In 2006, Sandra Piaseki, a 50-year-old woman from Salem Township, Pennsylvania, met a tragic end at the hands of the very creatures she adored, a pack of hybrid wolves she had raised for over a decade. Sandra, deeply fascinated by wolves, kept 9 hybrid animals, part wolf and part domestic dog, on her property. Their enclosure was fortified with electric fencing, a testament to their untamed nature. Sandra often spoke of her connection to the wolves as spiritual, viewing herself as their pack leader. Yet, the wild instincts of these animals could not be suppressed. On a fateful day, while tending to them, Sandra suffered a brutal attack. Her lifeless body was later discovered inside the enclosure by her daughter. An autopsy revealed that Sandra bled to death within minutes from severe injuries to her scalp and legs caused by the wolves. There was no evidence of a medical emergency that could have made her vulnerable. This was a spontaneous attack. The wolves, despite their years under Sandra's care, had turned on her without warning. Reports indicated these hybrids had displayed aggressive tendencies before. 2 years prior, they had attacked a friend of Sandra's, a chilling precursor to this fatal incident. Animal welfare officials had repeatedly warned Sandra about the dangers of keeping hybrid wolves, emphasizing that their unpredictability made them even more dangerous than wild wolves, which generally avoid humans. After her death, authorities faced the grim task of retrieving her body. The surviving 8 wolves were euthanized to ensure the safety of those involved. Sandra's death stands as a sobering reminder of the risks inherent in keeping wild or hybrid animals, no matter how deeply one feels connected to them. Having explored the tragic consequences of living among wolves, one might wonder, what compels someone to keep a creature as fearsome and dangerous as a hippo? Let's delve into that next. The fatal bond, Marius and his beloved hippo Humphrey. Marius was more than just a farmer, he was a man determined to defy the boundaries between humanity and nature. In 2011, his daring connection to Humphrey, a 1,200-kilogram hippo he had raised since it was a calf, ended in tragedy. Humphrey wasn't your typical pet. Rescued by Marius during a devastating flood, the hippo grew up under his care and became a local spectacle. Marius, often referring to Humphrey as like a son, reveled in the attention their unique bond brought. He proudly shared photos and videos of himself riding the massive animal's back, convinced their relationship transcended the natural instincts of a creature known to be one of Africa's most aggressive. But others were less optimistic. Neighbors and wildlife experts repeatedly warned Marius of the inherent danger in keeping such a powerful and unpredictable creature. Humphrey had already demonstrated his wild nature on multiple occasions, chasing golfers, intimidating canoeists, and being implicated in the deaths of livestock. Yet, Marius remained unfazed, steadfast in his belief that their connection was unshakable. That belief was shattered one November evening when Humphrey's primal instincts surfaced in a shocking and brutal attack. The hippo turned on Marius, biting and gouging him savagely before dragging him into the river near his farm. By the time paramedics arrived, it was too late. Marius's lifeless body, torn by the creature he had called family, was a stark reminder of the perils of underestimating nature. The tragedy left the world reeling. How could a man so devoted to his animal companion meet such a horrific end? Marius's story raises haunting questions about the boundaries of human-animal relationships and serves as a chilling reminder that even the strongest bonds can be shattered by the raw, untamed instincts of wild creatures. As we continue, we explore another story of a human caretaker and the devastating consequences when the delicate balance of trust is broken. The deadly bond, Sam Mazzola, Brent Kandra, and the tragedy of Bart the bear. The heartbreaking story of Brent Kandra, a caretaker at Sam Mazzola's exotic animal sanctuary in Columbia Station, Ohio, stands as a grim reminder of the dangers of keeping wild animals as pets. On August 19, 2010, 24-year-old Brent's devotion to animals cost him his life. During a routine feeding, Bart, a bear weighing over 300 kilograms, was let out of his cage, a common practice since Brent and Sam believed the animal to be accustomed to them. Tragically, this time was different. Without warning, Bart became aggressive, mauling Brent severely. Despite being rushed to a Cleveland hospital, Brent succumbed to his injuries the following day. Sam Mazzola, the sanctuary's owner, was no stranger to controversy. Known for his infamous bear wrestling events and his collection of exotic animals, Mazzola had long been under legal and ethical scrutiny. His license to exhibit animals had been revoked, but he continued to maintain a menagerie that included bears, tigers, and wolves. Critics questioned his care practices, but Mazzola remained steadfast in his belief that his animals were under control. Following Brent's tragic death, Bart was euthanized at the request of Brent's grieving family. Brent's father had repeatedly warned him of the dangers of working with such unpredictable creatures, urging him to leave the sanctuary. Yet Brent's lifelong passion for wildlife and his deep commitment to the animals kept him in harm's way, a choice that ultimately proved fatal. The incident serves as a chilling cautionary tale about the unpredictable nature of wild animals and the human desire to tame them. Brent's story is a poignant reminder that even the most passionate caretakers can fall victim to the primal instincts of the creatures they love. But if you think this bear attack was harrowing, wait until you hear about a farmer who tried to domesticate a beast far larger than himself, with consequences just as devastating. Tragedy on the farm, Terry Vance Garner and the pigs that turned fatal. Terry Vance Garner, a 69-year-old farmer from Coos County, Oregon, was a man who found solace in his animals, particularly his massive pigs. A Vietnam War veteran battling PTSD, Garner's farm was more than just his livelihood, it was his sanctuary. But on a fateful Wednesday, this place of peace became the scene of a horrific tragedy. Garner's family grew concerned when he didn't return after heading out to feed his animals. Their worst fears were realized when they discovered dentures and fragments of his body near the pig enclosure. The rest of his remains had been consumed by the pigs, each weighing an astonishing 700 pounds. Investigators theorized that the pigs may have knocked him over, leading to his death, or that a medical emergency like a heart attack caused him to collapse, leaving him vulnerable to the animals. Despite a pathologist being unable to determine the precise cause of death, further analysis at the University of Oregon sought to piece together what happened. Garner's older brother, Michael, described Terry as a kind-hearted man who poured his life into caring for his animals. He had even sold piglets to local children and was especially fond of a boar named Teddy. This devotion came despite the risks. Garner had previously been bitten by one of the pigs but chose not to euthanize the animal, a testament to his deep bond with them. For Garner, the pigs weren't just livestock, they were companions. The tragedy left the community stunned, highlighting both the beauty and the danger of forming close ties with powerful animals. Terry Vance Garner's story is a poignant reminder of the fine line between care and risk when it comes to taming creatures far stronger than ourselves. But if you think Garner's story is chilling, wait until you hear about Kellyanne Wolleys and her fatal encounter with her pet black bear. Kellyanne Walls and the fatal bond with her black bear, Teddy. In 2009, a tragic incident in Pennsylvania served as a chilling reminder of the risks involved in keeping wild animals as pets. Kellyanne Walls, a devoted wife and animal lover, lost her life in a horrifying attack by her pet black bear, Teddy, a creature she had considered part of her family. Teddy had been with the Walls family since he was a cub, raised by Kelly's husband, who had a lifelong fascination with exotic animals. Over the years, the couple treated Teddy with affection, trusting the bond they had nurtured. To them, he wasn't just a wild animal, he was a companion. But as wildlife experts often warn, the instincts of even the most docile wild creatures remain unpredictable and dangerous. On the fateful day, Kelly was alone, cleaning Teddy's cage, a routine task she had performed countless times before. Without warning, the 400-pound bear's primal instincts took over. Teddy turned aggressive, launching a brutal attack that Kelly could not escape. By the time emergency responders arrived, the damage was done. Kelly had no chance against the sheer strength of the animal she had trusted for years. The devastating loss left the Walls family and their community in shock. While Teddy had been raised in captivity and seemed affectionate, the incident underscored a harsh truth: wild animals, even those raised from birth by humans, can never be fully domesticated. Black bears, in particular, retain strong survival instincts that can be triggered unpredictably, with lethal consequences. In the aftermath of the tragedy, questions arose about the ethics and safety of keeping wild animals as pets. Could such a tragedy have been avoided? For many, Kelly's story became a haunting reminder that no amount of affection or familiarity can fully tame the wild nature of animals like Teddy. And yet, as we move forward, there are even more unbelievable tales, like the one involving an attack from an animal no one would expect. Stay tuned for the next chilling account. Pam Weaver and the fatal bond with her camel. In 2007, a joyful birthday gift turned into a tragedy when Pam Weaver, an Australian woman from New South Wales, lost her life in a shocking and heartbreaking incident involving a camel. The camel, given to her by her family as a token of love and excitement, was meant to bring happiness to Pam's life. Instead, it became the cause of her untimely death. Pam, known for her deep affection for animals, had spent time bonding with the camel, believing it to be a safe and affectionate addition to her home. On that fateful day, Pam was in her yard when the camel, without warning, became aggressive. It knocked her over, causing her to fall hard onto the ground. Tragically, the animal's massive weight then crushed her, inflicting fatal injuries. Despite being rushed to the hospital, Pam succumbed shortly afterward. The camel's sudden and deadly behavior left her family and community reeling. While the animal had shown no signs of hostility before, its instincts as a large, semi-wild creature were always present. Experts speculate that the behavior may have been triggered by stress, confusion, or an environmental factor, but the exact cause remains a mystery. Pam's story serves as a sobering reminder of the risks inherent in keeping exotic or large animals as companions. No matter how domesticated or familiar they may seem, animals like camels retain unpredictable instincts that can lead to devastating outcomes. Her tragic passing ignited debates over the safety of owning such animals, even with the best intentions. Pam's undeniable love for creatures great and small was never in question, but her heartbreaking death underscores the delicate and dangerous line between admiration and the attempt to domesticate animals that are not suited for human companionship. While this tragedy unfolded on land, next, we'll dive into a story of another unexpected encounter, but this time, with a creature that rules the skies and is just as deadly. Stay tuned. Martin Hajos and the deadly cassowary encounter. In 2019, a devastating tragedy unfolded in Florida when 75-year-old Martin Hajos, a dedicated breeder of exotic animals, was fatally attacked by one of his own cassowaries, a species often referred to as the world's most dangerous bird. This incident occurred after Hajos reportedly fell near the massive bird, triggering a response that proved fatal. Despite the lack of any clear intent by the cassowary to harm its owner, its sheer power and natural instincts resulted in catastrophic injuries. Hajos was rushed to the hospital but was sadly pronounced dead. Cassowaries, native to Australia and New Guinea, are imposing creatures that stand up to 6 feet tall and can weigh as much as 130 pounds. With their muscular legs and razor-sharp claws, which can grow up to 5 inches long, these flightless birds possess the ability to deliver devastating kicks capable of causing fatal wounds. Though attacks on humans are rare, when they occur, they are often lethal, as Hajos's untimely death tragically demonstrates. Authorities described the incident as a tragic accident and launched an investigation to understand the circumstances leading to the attack. Hajos, an experienced breeder, was known for his work with cassowaries, which are highly sought after by exotic animal enthusiasts in the United States. While these birds may appear majestic and fascinating, they carry risks that are impossible to ignore. After the attack, the cassowary responsible was secured on the property, but its future remained uncertain. This heartbreaking event reignited discussions about the perils of keeping powerful and potentially dangerous exotic animals as pets, even by experienced handlers. Martin Hajos's passion for these incredible birds was undeniable, but his death serves as a chilling reminder of the inherent dangers tied to attempting to control wild creatures. Their instincts, size, and strength can make them unpredictable, turning a moment of misstep into a life-threatening situation. As we move away from this bird attack, we delve into the next story, a chilling reminder of how an animal's unmet hunger can blur the line between pet and predator. Stay tuned. Andre Lmoga and the Starving Dog's Revenge. In a chilling and tragic turn of events in Indonesia, Andre Lmoga, a man from Sulawesi, became the victim of his own neglected pets. Lmoga, who left his 7 dogs without food or water for 2 weeks while he went on vacation, returned to a nightmare beyond imagination. The starving dogs, driven by desperation, turned on their owner, attacking and killing him in a gruesome act of survival. By the time authorities discovered the scene, the dogs had consumed most of Lmoga's body, leaving only his skull behind. The horror might have gone unnoticed if not for a neighborhood security guard. Suspicious of Lmoga's prolonged absence and the sight of untouched luggage outside his house, the guard also detected a foul odor emanating from the property. Concerned, he contacted the police. When officers entered the home, they found the remains of Lmoga's body, his skull in the kitchen and other parts near the entrance. It was a grim discovery that sent shockwaves through the community. Compounding the tragedy, 2 other dogs in Lmoga's care had also fallen victim to the pack's hunger during his absence, leaving a haunting testament to the desperation caused by neglect. Adding a dark layer of irony to this story is Lmoga's heritage. Coming from Sulawesi, a region known for a diet that includes dog meat, it was the very animals he chose to keep as pets that sealed his fate in such a brutal manner. This devastating incident serves as a stark reminder of the dangers of neglecting animals, especially those capable of reverting to their primal instincts when survival is at stake. While the bond between humans and pets is built on trust and care, this relationship can break down with deadly consequences when animals are pushed to extremes. As we close this harrowing chapter, we move to a heartbreakingly different tragedy, an innocent child falling victim to an unforeseen and deadly pet attack. How could something so trusted turn into a fatal threat? Stay tuned. Pet snake kills child in 2009, the tragic death of China hare. In 2009, a heartbreaking tragedy unfolded in Florida when 2-year-old China hare became the victim of her family's pet Burmese python, Gypsy. The 8-foot, 6-inch snake, known to be a dangerous predator, managed to escape its inadequately secured enclosure, which was only covered by a quilt instead of a proper lid. Under the cover of night, Gypsy slithered into Che's crib and attacked her as she slept, causing a fatal encounter. Burmese pythons, native to Southeast Asia, are notorious for using their powerful muscles to constrict and suffocate their prey. China, defenseless in her crib, stood no chance against the snake's hunting instincts. By the time authorities arrived at the scene, her lifeless body showed visible bite marks. The tragic death of this innocent child shocked not only the local community but also the wider public. China's parents, Jiren Hare and her boyfriend Charles Darnell, had kept Gypsy as a pet for years, despite prior warnings about the risks of owning such a powerful reptile. They admitted to knowing that the snake had attempted to escape before but had failed to make the necessary adjustments to secure its enclosure. This oversight, compounded by their lack of adequate precautions, allowed the snake to cause a devastating loss. This tragedy sparked intense debates about the dangers of keeping exotic animals, particularly in homes with young children. Experts have long warned that species like the Burmese python cannot be tamed, and their natural instincts are far too unpredictable to be safely kept as pets. While exotic animals might seem fascinating, the risks often far outweigh the rewards of ownership. In response to the incident, Florida lawmakers rallied for stricter regulations on exotic pet ownership, including requirements for escape-proof enclosures to prevent such deadly occurrences in the future. Next, we will delve into another heart-wrenching case, this time involving a senior citizen who tragically fell victim to a beloved pet. When animals meant to provide companionship become threats, the consequences can be devastating. Muhammad and his pet monkey, a deadly tragedy in Malaysia. In a tragic turn of events, 72-year-old Ngar Muhammad's attempt to train his pet monkey to retrieve coconuts led to a deadly outcome. Monkeys, known for their remarkable tree-climbing abilities, are often trained for this task in some regions, and Muhammad, inspired by this common practice, decided to teach his pet monkey to do the same. What seemed like a harmless endeavor quickly became a nightmare. The monkey, which Muhammad had raised for a considerable time, was not prepared for the task at hand. Instead of fetching coconuts, the monkey turned aggressive, launching a vicious attack on Muhammad. One of the bites, a critical strike to his wrist, tore through a major artery, causing him to bleed to death. When Muhammad's son, Zakaria, arrived at the scene after hearing a commotion, he discovered his father unconscious. Tragically, the monkey attacked Zakaria as well, biting him on the neck. Zakaria's desperate screams alerted nearby neighbors, who rushed to the scene. Frightened by the crowd, the monkey fled into the jungle, leaving behind a scene of chaos and horror. Authorities from the Malaysian Department of Wildlife and National Parks responded swiftly, tracking down the aggressive monkey. It was tranquilized and, due to its dangerous behavior, likely euthanized, though this was not publicly confirmed. This heartbreaking incident underscores the inherent dangers of keeping wild animals, even those raised in captivity. What seemed like a simple task of training a pet monkey ended in tragedy, highlighting the unpredictable nature of animals, regardless of how familiar they may seem. Now, let's turn to another chilling story, this time involving a collection of reptiles that took a dark, deadly turn. The story of Mark Vogel and his aggressive pet is one that serves as a stark reminder of the risks of owning exotic animals. Mark Vogel and his exotic pets, a deadly encounter. In a tragic and grisly accident, 30-year-old Mark Vogel from Dortmund, Germany, met his untimely death in a horrifying encounter with his collection of exotic pets. Known for housing over 200 spiders, reptiles, and other unusual creatures in his apartment, Vogel lived in an environment that resembled a real-life jungle. Among his most dangerous companions were venomous species like black widow spiders, which he frequently handled with ease. But in early 2004, tragedy struck when one of his beloved black widow spiders bit him. The bite, combined with complications from other dangerous creatures in his home, ultimately led to his death. When authorities arrived at the scene, they were confronted with a chilling and disturbing sight. Vogel's body was found surrounded by his exotic pets, including lizards and tarantulas, which had begun feasting on his remains. The dimly lit apartment, bathed in a green hue, created an eerie atmosphere. Spiders were reportedly found crawling out of his nose and mouth, and thousands of termites and other creatures added to the grim scene. This tragic event serves as a stark reminder of the risks involved in keeping exotic animals as pets. What started as a passion for collecting unique creatures ended in a horrifying accident that claimed Vogel's life in a way no one could have predicted. If you think this story is unsettling, wait until you hear about another extraordinary and tragic tale of a pet owner whose love for their animals ended in disaster.